So normally I don't like to blend a Triumph with other effects, but for this routine I have to make an exception because this routine perfectly blends the classic time travel plot, The Time Machine by Roy Walton, with Triumph just so perfectly and just so smoothly. You're gonna love it. This routine is called Triumphantly Turning Back Time by Larry Jennings. So you've got ideas by Larry Jennings, you've got the Time Machine plot by Roy Walton, and you've got Triumph by, of course, Di Vernon. With these three of mine all together in one routine, you know it's gotta be a banger. Let's get into it. So here's some food for thought for you. If time is only an illusion, then essentially, in theory, we can create the illusion of time travel. I'll demonstrate with this deck of cards here. So let's say we just take one out from the middle of the deck. Let's say we just have the Jack of Clubs there, and I'll put the Jack on the table, and the rest of the cards go on top of the Jack. Now, in theory, if we could travel back in time, a moment ago when that Jack was on top of the deck, that would prove my point. So what I'll do is this. Each time I drop cards like this, that Jack of Clubs is going to travel through time back where it was a moment ago, like I said, on top of the deck, until it makes its way all the way to the top. That Jack is on top of the deck, no longer on the bottom. I'll do that one more time. Place the Jack in the middle of the deck. Now this has to be exact. If I place it around, I'd say that's exactly 31 cards down in the deck. Push it all the way in. Now check this out. If I take a completely different card, this is the craziest part about it, like the 9 of diamonds here, and put it where that Jack was just a moment ago at exactly 31, or was it 29? I can't remember. But if you put it right there, you can create the illusion of time travel going back in time and give it a spin like this when that 9 was on top of the deck and that Jack was sticking out the middle of the deck just a moment ago. Now this may be all sleight of hand, or it could actually be time travel. I mean, who's to say, right? I'll do it one more time for you. I'll leave the Jack face up in the middle of the deck somewhere, and this time what I'll do is this. Let's see. For this to really make sense for you, what I'll have to do is turn about half the cards face up and leave half of them face down. So what I'll do is this. If I shuffle them into each other like this, you can see them going in face up and face down with this messy sort of shuffle. So you can see everything that happens. There's no cheating going on. Alright, so as you can see, the deck is just a mess. You got cards back to back, and you got cards face to face, face up cards, face down cards. But if I could really go back in time, or at least create the illusion of time travel, back a moment ago, when all these cards were face down except for that one card, it would look like this. How it should look just a moment ago when that Jack of Clubs was the only face-up card in the face-down deck. Alright, so here is the explanation for this routine. So you start talking about, time travel, and you just begin your opening lines of this whole effect theme, okay? So I'll leave the pattern up to you. You can use mine, or you can just come up with your own. Not a big deal, but here's how you do the effect. So it starts out by getting a triple lift on the top of the deck, okay? So in the book, he just says to get, a triple and just turn it over on top of the deck. But I like to just use the center riffle method, just riffling down and getting 3 cards that way. That just fits my style better. It doesn't matter how you get the triple, but the triple must be on top of the deck. So the later on, when you start talking about how it was on top of the deck a moment ago, it makes sense that it's on top of the deck. So now what you do is you turn the triple over. This is actually 3 cards, okay? So it's a triple lift. So you turn the triple over, and you just place it on the table. So right now the actual 4 of clubs is second from top. So what you do now is you just put the deck on the table card. You start talking about if time travel is real, we can create the illusion that time travel is real. Go from the bottom to the top where it was just a few moments ago. And all I have to do is dribble the deck a few times like this. Don't never say dribble in a performance for layman, and always say drop cards, okay? Helpful tip there. So just dribble cards like this, and each time I do this, that 4 of clubs travels through time to where it was a moment ago on top of the deck. And what I like to do here is when I'm dribbling, just catch 2 cards as they fall. Makes the double lift you're about to do a lot easier. So as you're dribbling, just try and catch 2 cards. And it makes sense for the routine, even if you miss it a couple times. You're saying each time I do this, it travels through time until eventually it lands on top of the deck. So just catch 2 cards, and then you have your double until it lands right on top of the deck, that 4 of clubs. So now you move on to the second phase, which is just Roy Walton's classic time machine effect. So you just take the double and turn it face down and put it in the middle of the deck. And I like to say stuff like, it has to be exactly, what you say, right now it's exactly 29 cards down. If I push it in, and remember that spot, 29 cards down, and just take any random card and you do a regular double lift. Take a random card like the Queen of Spades here and put it where it was just a moment ago, where that 4 used to be exactly 29. It always has to be exact. And in the performance, I actually forgot what I said, so it made it like a humorous line. But you just say, if it goes exactly where that 4 was just a moment ago, when you turn back time now, that Queen will go back on top of the deck, and that 4 will go back to where it was just a moment ago via the time travel plot pattern. That's just the very basic handling routine of a time machine. Now you move on to the third phase, which is the Triumph plot. Now, by the way, I'm sure that when I was doing the performance that you were aware of all the moves that I was doing, and that's okay. I mean, when I do these videos, it's not to pull one past you. I'm not trying to fool you as a magician. The reason why I make these videos is so you can entertain a real audience and use these tricks for them. If I were to just show you tricks that fool you as a magician, that would be a waste of time. So never underestimate moves like the triple lift and the double lift and the Tenkai revolve that's about to happen, okay? So just turn that Queen face down, you don't need it any longer. So now you just put the Queen face up in the middle of the deck and say, look, I'll do it one more time. And you just spread to show that all the cards are face down, except for this face up face up 4 of clubs here. So as you close up, you just get a break under that face up 4 of clubs. However, I like to do this when I close up. Some people, at least for sure for me 100%, whenever I catch a break, you can see it. All right, it's very obvious you get that, because I don't like to take chances. I put my whole pinky in there when I get a break. Okay, so what I like to do to hide breaks occasionally is just scoot the card back so I get a jog instead of a break. All right, you can be real loose with this. You can put the deck down, pick it back up, do finesses like this, and still have that jog back there. So all I'm doing there, when I spread through, when I close back up, I'm just doing this. I'm taking my fingers, and I'm scooting that card back. I'm just in-jogging the card with my fingers there. As I close up, it's completely invisible, and you have that jog so you can get the break whenever you need it, versus just holding a break for the whole time. That's unnecessary. So with this, like I said, there's a loose handling. You can be casual, and whenever you need the break, just lift up at the in jog and get your break now. So now what's going to happen is you're going to do the Triumph portion of the trick. So you start talking about time travel again, and I'll show you this one more time. So as you're talking and looking them in the eye, you don't want them to focus on this optical revolve, because it is a discrepant move, right? So what you're going to do is, as you're talking and get the break, lift it back with your thumb, get your pinky break there, and then as you're talking, watch what this time I'll do it a little bit different. I will turn half the cards face down and leave them half face up. So what I'm doing there is just this. All you're doing is turning the deck over in separate parts. That's all. Nothing is happening, but it looks like the illusion is that you're turning half face up and half face down, when in actuality nothing is happening. Okay, so again, you're here, you have the card face up in the middle, get your jog, lift up at the jog, and then simply do that. All that's happening is this hand is going palm up, and this hand is going palm down. That's all that's happening. It's like a rocking motion like this, and that is the optical revolve. It looks like you've just done what you are pretending to do, right? So now, say, look, I'll shuffle these cards in a kind of a weird way, face up cards going into face down cards, and just give it a cozy shuffle, because half of these are face up, so you don't want to expose that. So just manage your angles and shuffle them to where they can't see all those face up parts. If you did this, that would be bad. I see a lot of people do that. All you gotta do is just shift your body a little bit and it'll be hidden, okay? So just do the shuffle, making sure that single face down card, which is their card, lands last face down on top as you cleanly and deliberately push all those cards flush. So now at this point, the real situation is that you have a complete face-up deck, just with their card face down on top there. So what you're going to do now is start talking about the condition of the deck, or your convincers, if you will, for Triumph. And all you do here is take your hand and lift up about half the deck. Say, look, I got about half the cards that are face to face. And here's a little tip for you when you do Triumph. I got half the cards back to back, as you can see. How would you know that? There's no way you could have known that before you cut to it. And it's like you're making a prediction. It's like, that's a whole trick in itself. The cards are back to back, see? Yep, I was right. Like, how would you even know that? I just see a lot of people do that, and it's like, just think about what you're doing. For one, just take a step back and think about what you're saying and what you're doing, okay? So what you want to do is lift up about half the deck and kind of examine it for a minute, and then say, you can see I've got cards that are back to back, and then just put it back in your hand so that it's still the same situation from when we picked it up. All right, so you're not turning it over or anything, you're keeping it how it is. All right, so you say, look, I got half the cards that are back to back, just put it back in your hand so the half is still face up with the exception of their card. Don't change the orientation of the packet here. So now you pick this up, you got cards that are face to face, which makes no sense, but you gotta say something, okay? So again, I got cards that are back to back, I got cards that are face to face, I got cards that are face up, I got cards that are face down. They're going in so many different directions, I can't even keep up. In case you didn't catch that, all I'm doing here is cutting the deck, okay? So that's all that's happening, is the deck is being cut, okay? So that's because you want to centralize that single reversed card. So again, you're here, you talk about the orientation. I got cards that are face to face, I got cards that are back to back, whatever you want to say, doesn't matter. So you just pick this up and put it on top. I got cards that are face up, I got cards that are face down. And if I could really go back in time, or at least create the illusion of time travel, then all these cards would be face down. So all I've got to do is travel back in time, according to your pattern, then all these cards would be face down, except for your card, the Four of Clubs, how it was just a moment ago. Alright guys, so as always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It means the world to me. And if you learned something new or if you got value out of this video, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and sub to the channel. Until next time, happy practicing. I love you guys. There's a dog here.